Every headline says the same thing. 2032, Social Security's retirement fund runs dry. Your check drops 22% automatically. There's one problem. No law says that. What the law actually says is stranger, and in one way, better. Start with what the trustees actually published this June. The retirement fund, the one that pays retired workers and survivors, is projected to pay 100% of scheduled benefits until the fourth quarter of 2032. After that, the money still coming in from payroll taxes covers 78%. 78, not zero. Hold on to that number. Everything else in this video depends on it. Here is what 78% looks like in a checkbook. This June, the average retired worker collected $2,084.40 a month. 78% of that is $1,625.83. The difference, $458.57 a month, about $5,500 a year. One honest caveat. That's today's dollar applied to a date 6 years out. By 2032, the average check will be larger because of cost of living raises. The percentage is the part that travels. The dollar figure is just to make it real. And 78% isn't a floor that holds. The same report projects it drifting down toward 62% by the end of the century. Now, if you've read about this before, you may be holding a different year in your head. 2034. That year is real, it just belongs to a different fund. Social Security is two separate legal trust funds. One pays retirees and survivors. The other pays disability benefits. The retirement fund is the one that runs short in 2032 at 78%. The disability fund is in good shape, projected to pay full benefits through the end of the century. Put the two together on paper and you get 2034 at 83%. That combined number is the one most headlines quote. But read the trustee's own footnote. The two funds, quote, could not actually be combined unless there were a change in the law. So if you are a retiree, the honest date is 2032, which raises a fair question. Has this ever actually happened? It has, once, in November of 1982. November 3rd, 1982. The Social Security checks had already gone out, mailed, in people's hands. 2 days later, on November 5th, the balance in the retirement trust fund hit zero, not projected to hit zero, hit it. And the payroll taxes coming in that week were not enough to cover the checks that had already been delivered. What happened next took one afternoon and one signature. The Secretary of the Treasury authorized a loan $581 million out of the disability fund into the retirement fund. The checks cleared, almost nobody noticed. That loan bought time, and the time got used. Congress had a commission already running, the Greenspan Commission, and the 1982 Trustees Report had put a date on the wall. Without new law, the retirement fund would be insolvent by July of 1983. The 1983 amendments passed with months to spare, not years, months. So the system has been here before and it survived. But there's a detail in that story that does not repeat. The loan from 1982 required special permission from Congress, and that permission expired. Under current law, the two funds may not lend to each other. The door that saved those checks is closed unless Congress opens it again. And the date is moving toward us, not away. This year's report moved the retirement fund 1 quarter earlier than last year's. 3 reasons, all in the trustees' own summary. Fewer babies. The long-run birth rate assumption dropped from 1.9 children per woman to 1.75. Less immigration, which means fewer future workers paying in. And the third one you have already lived through. The tax law passed in 2025 lowered income tax rates and raised the standard deduction, including an extra deduction for people over 65. Some of the income tax you pay on your Social Security benefits flows back into the fund. Lower taxes on benefits, lower income for the fund. If you saw our episode on whether your benefits are taxable, this is that same rule seen from the fund's side of the table. All of which brings us back to the question I opened with. What does the law actually say happens in 2032? The Congressional Research Service, the nonpartisan agency that writes briefings for Congress itself, put it plainly. Quote, the Social Security Act does not specify what would happen to benefits if a trust fund became insolvent. There is no statute that says cut everyone 22%. That rule does not exist. It was never written. What exists instead is a collision between two federal laws. Under the Social Security Act, you are legally entitled to your full scheduled benefit. That entitlement doesn't expire in 2032. It doesn't shrink. But a second law, the Anti-Deficiency Act, forbids any federal agency from spending money it does not have. So on that morning, Social Security is legally required to pay you in full and legally forbidden from doing it. The agency would have 2 ways out, and the law picks neither. Option 1. Pay the full check late. Everyone's benefit delayed, cycling through the month as the tax money arrives. Option 2. Pay on time reduced. Nobody has decided which. Not Congress, not the courts. And because that entitlement is written in law, the shortfall does not vanish. It becomes something you are still owed. CRS says beneficiaries would remain legally entitled to full, timely benefits and could take legal action to claim the balance. A missing 22% would be a debt, not a deletion. So what would it take to close the gap? The trustees put 2 price tags on it, and the only thing that changes them is time. Fix it now with one across-the-board benefit reduction, and it takes 25.2%. Wait until 2034, and the same fix takes 28.5%. On the tax side, raise the payroll tax by 4.25 percentage points today or 4.9 if you wait. One caution, those two figures measure the cost of a permanent repair at 2 different moments in time. The 22% we started with is a different number entirely. Waiting doesn't make the problem worse by accident. It makes it worse by arithmetic. Proposals exist. The most recent one, the Social Security 2100 Act, was introduced on June 29, 2026. As of today, it sits in committee, which means it is a proposal, not a law, and it may never be one. Congress has acted every time this got close. It has also never acted early. 3 things to carry out of this. The retirement fund is projected to fall short in 2032, and the payroll taxes still coming in cover 78%. That floor exists because workers keep paying in. It is not a switch someone flips off. The 22% is arithmetic, not legislation. The law is silent. 2 outcomes are possible, and your legal claim to the full amount survives either one. And the number to plan around is 78%. If your retirement math still works at 78, you have already answered the question this video asked. If you know someone who has been told their checks are about to disappear, send them this. That sentence has frightened a lot of people who were owed a more accurate one. Subscribe if you'd rather meet these rules early than late.